video about being irrationally rational. Well, this is a bit more despair than rational. Someone once said that the most sane reaction to the world we live in is insanity. Well, they didn't quite say that. Maybe this is an accidental lesson in the dangers of paraphrasing kids. Do your research, or if you're like me, don't, and just wing it. Now, despite my butchering of the actual quote and restitching its body parts in the wrong place, creating some hideous leg-armed freak of a sentence, the point still stands. Sometimes the most rational thing to do when faced with madness is to go mad yourself. This ties into the stop trying to establish permanence in a transient existence point of view that I arrived at a few years back. That's how my brain made sense of the world back then. Now, I like to think of myself as a fairly rational person, at least when it's convenient to me anyway. None of that difficult self-analysis will be found here. As I mentioned before, sweeping generalizations are funnier. So to talk to you in those terms, the world is so fucked up, I have begun to take it less seriously. Now, because I'm better than everybody else, and I'm obviously the first person in history to look at the world and just despair at the simple madness of it all, what's brought this on, Eddie? What the fuck? Well, for a start, some people think that beheading journalists is the kind of thing that's, you know, appropriate. No wonder journalism is dying. Imagine if it spreads here. I don't know about you, but seeing Gordon Ramsay lop off a critic's head after a bad review isn't exactly far-fetched anymore. You see, the problem with the world is that I am not, as of current, its undisputed leader. If I were, I'd be able to shape the world into a beautiful utopia free of all those pesky people who think execution is the correct response to mild criticism. Now, ignoring my irony alarm going off in the background, I'll press on. I swear I changed the batteries in that. Sometimes events happen in the world that seem so inhuman that I can't process them. There was a Chechen rebel slaughter of Russian children at a school about a decade ago that just made my mind break just a tiny fraction. What made me go full-on mad for about 7.5 seconds was the fact that some of the murderers were women. Women who had their own children killed by Russian forces. And yet the world still turned. It's events like the recent beheading of an American journalist for the second time in as many weeks by ISIS that really made me look at the world and go, this is total madness, and like madness, it has no end. I'd like to say that these things are inhuman, but the joke, the punchline to it anyway, is that it's very, very human. I can't react rationally to madness, that's why I make jokes. Irreverence is the best reaction to broken fanatical thinking. They hate that, those I know what's truly sacred types. That's why the hilarious irony of calling oneself holy while cutting another man's head off escapes them. Let them stay the butt of the fucking joke. Later, fakes!